Sometimes it takes a while. Hey, YouTube, we're back. Podcast, all that. So, we got some things to talk about. We got Rage of the Abyss stuff officially came out today. I watched that live stream. I personally would rather have had a pre-recorded thing like they used to do.
I watched 2 minutes of it, and I had it kind of running in the background while I was working. 2
Mhm.
minutes of it, I went, "This is stupid."
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure Michael or Trevor will give me the full lowdown of what's going on. If not, I'll watch a fucking YouTube video on it or something.
All I know is that we got the Fire King import and Mimighouls.
Yeah.
All I care about.
So, yes, we'll talk about Mimighoul. Speaking of which, first card I put on this is called Mimighoul Fork. It's a pretty cool card. I think you never, if someone uses it against you, I think you always choose the flip up. But what does it do? For people that just kind of want to listen in the background, it's a normal spell. You target a face down monster your opponent controls. Your opponent chooses one of the following effects, and you apply that effect. So you either change the targeted face down monster to face up attack or defense position, or you send it to the graveyard, and its owners draw 2 cards, and then you can banish this card to add another copy of itself. So I think this card is fine. Personally, if I ever get this used on it, I'm always choosing it to flip face up. I'm never giving them the 2 cards. That's just me, though. Like, unless it's, like, maybe Mimighoul Archfiend, but, like, even then, I think that's, like, not really worth it.
Yeah, I don't even know how good this card's gonna actually be in the deck. Like, it's solid, but you already have everything in the sun that flips your stuff face up, so.
I really don't have an opinion on it. Like, I've faced off against the deck. I've put the deck together. I've tried different versions of it. I just still sat here and went, yeah, I'm sure it's a great deck. Don't get me wrong. It's probably a really fun deck. I had a little fun when I was playing it, trying to hand rip. I was doing that, but
Yeah. Our next card.
I said might screw with Tempai if you just give them monster.
It definitely would Kashtira, but Kashtira is like so far out of the meta now. It's like whatever.
Yeah.
But speaking of Kashtira, they made a good point on stream with Mimighoul Charm that you could use this in the Kashtira deck alongside Unicorn and do like a Unicorn control mixed with Mimighouls and stuff like that. So what does Mimighoul Charm do? It's a continuous spell. Once per chain during the main phase. If a Mimighoul monster your opponent controls is flipped face up, you can randomly choose 1 card from in your opponent's extra deck. And if it is a monster that can be special summoned, you special summon it to your field, but it cannot use its effects or activate its effects that turn. If it wasn't or couldn't be special summoned, you banish that card. And you can only use this effect twice per turn. So once per chain and a twice per turn. So the idea being with Unicorn control, on top of this, you can eat their extra deck.
Oh.
Another thing I would point out is in the Mimighoul decks, I'd probably play a Fire Link monster.
Mm-hmm.
And regardless now, because if you grab Promethean Princess,
yeah,
like you're locking yourself into fires at that point.
I just came up with the coolest deck idea ever.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Mimighouls over here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have Soup Deck over here, right?
No.
Put them together.
No.
You have Delicious in the dungeon.
Okay. I guess. Look what you made Josh do. He left.
I can do that now.
Yeah, that's something that, I mean, that would be like a fun flavor deck if we were like, oh, let's make, for this episode, let's make some anime decks. But no, that wouldn't work really.
Don't worry, I've been trying to make Gilgamesh deck for a while now.
Mm-hmm. So next up,
figured out how I'm gonna throw equipment.
Next up usually is the Xyz, but I'm gonna just jump to the main deck monsters, and then kind of go back. So first up, I'm gonna talk about armor. I think armor's bad.
I thought it was gonna be slime time.
Slime will
Nah,
be
slime is-
eventually, but like, so I think armor is bad. But what does armor do? So armor says if this card during your main phase, flip. If it's the main phase, you activate the effects. This turn, Mimighouls cannot be destroyed by battle, and then you give control of it to your opponent. Same thing that all Mimighouls have. And then it has the ability to special summon onto the opponent's field or face up on your field. It's supposed to be kind of a way to actually get to your extra deck and your XCs and stuff like that. I think the idea of it is just a kind of if for the more stally variations, so your monsters can't be destroyed by battle. The idea is kind of like to mix it with the field spell itself and stuff, so that they have to flip it up. And yeah,
It makes sense.
I don't think the card's very good, but that's just
Armor's
me.
bad. You might play it just because of another name, but honestly, Cerberus is better.
I didn't even like
Sad.
Cerberus either. Like,
Cerberus is better than this.
yeah, I'll give you
You
that.
played it for a name, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you have to.
We got Fairy as well. So Fairy says, its flip effect is that this turn you cannot activate the effects of monster special summon from your hand. And then it has the ability to special summon itself or to either side of the field. Your opponent's in face up or face down to your side, and then if you want to summon to your side, it's face up. It doesn't have good stats. That's fine because it's gonna just be an extender probably. But I think that this card is better because like there are decks that this is gonna like hurt. So, example, if you had if I was playing against Sprite and they didn't open up starter, you flip up Mimighoul Fairy and I had the field spell out. If you flip up Fairy, that's gonna actually hurt because they're not gonna be able to like use the effects they summon from hand. So
Yeah,
Also, like,
it
hurts
you
Tenpai
lose
too.
value.
It
so
can hurt Tenpai too.
yeah, because Tenpai you can't use like Chandra and all that. So it's a good card. I think it's like I don't think it's like the best one, but it's definitely a good card. But I think I actually do agree with Josh that the best main deck one is in fact Slime.
Oh yeah,
Because
Slime is so good.
Because when Slime flips face up, you special summon one from your deck, which could get you Master, which gets you another Search, and everything like that. Or yeah, and so I think it's good. It has the same special summon thing that the rest of these ones do, so I'm not gonna keep reading that. They're all level 1, and they're all different types too. So like that can actually be relevant. Yeah, you can play Tikaboo. I'm pretty sure that's still limited though.
It is, but like one is all you really need anyway.
Yeah. I think Slime's good. Slime doesn't have good stats. Armor does. Armor's like the only one that has good stats for these main deck boys and girls and ladies.
yeah.
Yeah.
But we're gonna go into the XEs, and we are saving the best for last, so we're gonna go into Throne first. Throne, it special summons a Mimighoul from your deck to detach, and it has a quick effect to attach onto Mimighoul Master because it's his throne. And then when you equip it, it gives 1,000 attack. Then you can return cards from the field to the hand up to the number of materials this card had. So if you detach to add one to special summon Master from deck and get your search, on their turn you'll get a bounce 1. So
That's not awful.
nope, and
Played.
yeah, you play it definitely. It's a good card. I think that there's no real downside to playing this card at all, especially because it takes up just stuff in your extra. If you want to play Extravagance in this deck, you probably have to play 3 of this. Because you used to play Prosperity, but Prosperity is at 1. So if you want to play more cards that draw and stuff like that, probably do that. I would argue Desires is probably just a better card in this deck than either of those, but that's just my opinion for draw spells.
I'm gonna be a Giga Chat and play Reckless Greed. Also, for those wondering at home what I'm doing, I'm looking for my Mimighouls in my bulk. So,
all right, and now, last but not least for the Mimighouls, the boss monster and a very good boss monster,
boy!
Giant Mimighoul.
It's just 2 level 1s, by the way.
Yeah.
I've been reading this thing.
It's
Gigantic
great.
Sprite, eat your heart out.
It is great. So 2 level 1s. Your non-Xyz Mimighouls can attack directly while your opponent controls a face-down monster. That's easy to accomplish, because you can just give them one. If this card is summoned, you can add any Mimighoul card from your deck to your hand. So
it burninates too?
Yes, it does, because it's detached. Says target face-up cards on the field can be your own. Up to the number of face-down monsters your opponent controls, destroy them, and if you do, inflict 1,000 for each card destroyed. So, what
if I start my turn and Book of Eclipse my opponent and get this guy out, I could just pop a lot of stuff and just inflict the damage and win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you have more plays after that and summoning more, you can just attack them directly. And in time, you can
play.
You can blow up your own stuff and burn them.
Engine.
Yeah, and then, like I said,
the cats can be an engine. Oh my god!
And like I said, in time, you just blow up your own stuff and deal 1,000 to them for each stuff.
Yeah, the cats just have a new time card too.
Yeah,
but like they themselves can just you can merge them with Mimighoul, and it'd be fine because all of your things are teleports. Like what?
Yeah.
And you can even use those cats to make those.
Yeah.
Utilize 1-for-1. Yeah, that's interesting.
That's pretty good. Good old Sol and Luna. All right.
This deck is gonna be good.
Anything else we want to talk about? Anything else we want to move on to? Because we can move on to like some of the other predetermined topics, or we can just hang out and talk about Mimighouls and Rage of the Abyss some more. Because the only thing
are causing a rage in my abyss.
The only thing I would say add for Rage of the Abyss is I think that the Primite deck looks cool. I don't think it's very good, but I think it looks cool.
We have a set called ROTA now.
Mm-hmm.
We do. That we do.
All the other cards we knew about from the OCG, so it's like...
Yeah, I'm honestly happy with the Mimighoul support. I was a big Mimighoul hater because the best build looked to be Stun. So I hated it. But this support makes me like
I don't see why you hate Stun.
What do you mean? This is not fun. This is not fun to play.
Let me just... Yeah. Stun can't... The fun in Stun comes from making sure your opponent doesn't play. So ironically, it's like why people play Stun. They have fun with it in order... Yeah, it's just kind of funny that there's like a little bit of irony in there.
Not letting my opponent play the game because they did things fun.
So...
It's like punishing him for playing Yu-Gi-Oh!
Subjective.
I guess we could talk about the OCG ban list.
My glorious king
good
masterpiece.
List.
I called that, by the way.
Masterpiece?
Well, when you and I were walking to the 7-Eleven, I went, know what they need to do? We just need to bring Masterpiece back to 1. And you're like, I'd play the deck again. I'm like, heck, I would play the deck again.
You know what the best part is? I have 3 copies of Masterpiece somewhere.
So
I think it's funny that OCG brought it back, and Diagram's at 3 there, isn't it?
I don't know. But...
Diagram, I think, has been at 2 or 1 there for a long time.
No, I think it's at 3.
Well, first off, they banned Beatrice. Good riddance. That card needs to go because of Fiendsmith. They brought Drident back. Zodiac Drident.
Sitting on a fat stack of those too.
They brought back because they had it banned. We have it at 3. Dragoon. Whatever.
Yeah.
They brought back Snatch Steal just like we did. Now for the good hits, the really meta-defining ones. Diabellstar to 1, Poplar to 1, Chandra to 1, Phantom of Yubel to 1, Fiendsmith Engraver to 1. The search spell for Fiendsmiths to 1, and Bonfire to 1. All of those cards got limited. All of those cards should have been limited over here. I think Bonfire should have been gone, like, to 1 at least, because I'm a firm believer that, like, all search spells like that should be.
Whoa. Engraver did not need to go to 1 this last list.
Hey, what about you say all like searcher things need to go to 1 like that, but what about Heroes 50 gazillion searcher?
I meant like the
Heroes
generic type ones, like that and Tanky and like how Rota is. The only reason Tanky is not a problem is because Beast Warriors suck and haven't been good in like 10 years.
It's only been 7.
Yeah, I guess because Zodiac was 7 years ago.
Yeah, if we get Dryden back, then Zoo's gonna be decent again. We're gonna try Zoo again.
We got for the semi-limits. They brought back a lot of cards for semi-limit over there. Ava is semi-limited. I think it just came to 3, or no, it came to 1 over here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're at 1.
Terratop is at 2. Pankratops is at 2 over there. I believe it's at 3 here now. I know Terratop's at 3 here. Invoker's at 2 over there now. Luster Pendulum's at 2.
Wait, Alistair the Invoker?
No. MX Saber Invoker.
MX Saber Invoker. I forgot about that.
Their format is so warped they can have that card.
Yeah.
Honestly, we could probably have it back too.
They have 8 Max Cs.
Yeah, but we could probably have it back. It's on Master Duel. Like the only difference is like they have 3. They have 3, but even when you don't have Max C, the end boards aren't that really much more. They really aren't much more impressive than what currently you could do without it. So it's like,
yeah, but what I was getting at is like they can have Invoker. They have 8 Max Cs.
Yeah. Luster Pendulum, they got back to 2. We have it at 3. They've got Gold Sark to 2. I'm pretty sure Gold Sark's still at 1 for us.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're too afraid of what'll happen.
Fusion Destiny.
I'll be able to Spanish Blaster.
Fusion Destiny and Branded Opening are now semi-limited as well. Whatever. Now time for the real hit. The real freaking hit. They were tired of 9 maxis, so instead they gave them 8. That's right, they semi-limited OG maxi.
My favorite part about this whole thing is it's going to be exactly like the Ash Blossom thing. Put it to 2, next let's go. It was fine, let's put it back to 3.
You know what my
OCG does this all the time.
You know what my thoughts on Max C to 2 are? I'll show you.
Yeah.
Momentum.
Horse.
It could be like the TCG.
It's a step in the right direction, but they won't lean into it.
I don't know. They could do what we did in the TCG. Do you remember? We went from 3 to 2 to 1, back to 3, back to 1, and then it got banned.
Remind me.
Yeah.
And everybody was getting more mad because it was at 2 and 1. Because when you drew it, it felt worse to go against when the opponent drew it. But they hit the Yubel field spell as well. And then they hit Rivalry is at 2 over there. Yeah, we have it at 1 here, but they have it at 2 over there. So
I'd like
their format's going to be dominated by that new deck, though, isn't it? Like
it's probably going to be Fiendsmith. Yeah, it's going to be Fiendsmith Asmina probably, or not Fiend.
I was like Asmina. It's just they pretty much just clipped all of Asmina's.
I think Asmina's doing well right now. I don't know if it's
Ryzeal's like the best deck right now over there.
Is it?
Yep. Ravioli.
And then
okay. Yeah. Those 2 decks will probably just dominate everything then.
And then what's going to happen on our next ban list is we're going to follow the OCG here and put the rulers to 3. There's no way that they're not. They're putting the rulers to 3 next ban list, and if they don't, it'll be more that they forgot. That is
for Gore.
They've
forgotten for many years now.
Yeah, they got Plush Fire. They got Plush Fire back, but Plush Fire has a hard once per turn errata, so it doesn't matter.
Where was Summon Sorceress our last list?
Yeah, we didn't get Plush Fire or Summon Sorc back.
No, we got Summon. We got Plush.
Did we? I thought it didn't come back last list.
I thought it did.
I don't know. You can look it up.
I got it.
But
Spiral,
yeah, no, like
Spiral,
Summon
Zeus.
Torque, I think they're still scared of here.
Yeah.
I know it sounds stupid. They fixed it in OCG, but in OCG land, they won't see like what we see. And I'm genuinely, even with the fixed text, Summon Source is scary.
Oh no, you're right.
We'll find a way. Life will find a way.
Because I know they
TCG
announced
cannot
it.
be given things.
They announced because I know they announced it. That
No,
it
we
was,
do. We do have it. It's at 3.
Okay. It went
Plus
straight
price
from
of 3
ban
here.
to 3. Okay.
Yeah.
So
We don't even have the errata yet.
no, but it's fine. Pendulum sucks.
The
And-
database
Yeah.
has the
database
text,
yeah,
though,
but the
so you go
database
off the
has it, yeah.
database.
Yeah, but we don't. Basically.
Spiral Quick Fix is at 3 over there. Finally. Whatever. Zeus is at 3 again. It was at like 1 or 2 over there. Magispector Kieran is at 3 over there. It's fine. Pendulum decks kind of suck. And then they finally followed suit with us and gave them 3 Raigekis. So they have 3 Raigekis, they have 3 Lightning Storms, and then they have 3 of my friend Pearly. And that's the OCG ban list. Overall, I think it's a cool ban list and a good one. I hope we get something similar. The only thing I don't want is I don't want Max C back. They can,
Yeah.
even the OCG
Arnie,
players don't
I would
like
just
Max
play-
C.
I would just play One Bad Day with Max C deck. It'd just be One Bad Day with Max C deck.
I just can't wait for our next ban list.
Mhm.
We just got ours, but like I know the New Year's one's gonna be a shitstorm.
Don't mind me just tossing my phone behind me like that.
At your throwing phone.
No, that's
I'm
my
going
real
through
phone.
cards.
My throwing phone's over there
Oh,
on
okay,
that
okay.
shelf.
I'm just going through cards at the moment.
So that was that. I am looking forward to the Primites. Just to try them out. For OCG, they got that like continuous trap deck that's like all warriors, like ARG
Yeah.
Star S. That deck
That
looks
looks fun.
cool. They finally, I'll probably try it. I don't know really where to start with it, but I would probably try it.
Throw the newer Apophis trap in there.
Yeah,
Rabbit.
you can put That's 10 in there.
You can.
It's
You can
10.
also put Azaroon in there.
Mm.
That actually works.
I like that's 10.
But yeah,
It is 10.
that deck looks cool. I haven't seen a lot of the third deck of like Malice, Ryziel, and
Apocdrocosis.
yeah.
It's called. They gave it some new stupid name.
Yeah, I think that deck is dumb. Not in terms of like it's broken or anything. It's just a bad deck outside of literally their field spell being busted.
Yeah.
That's the one where it adds, banishes, and descends on activation, Stefan. One's a dragon, one has to be a dragon, one has to be a worm, and one has to be a dinosaur. No, it's dinosaur,
the one where I
worm,
was
sea
talking
serpent.
about the dinosaur stuff.
Yeah, it's dinosaur,
where
worm, sea serpent.
I was talking about like combo you could do with it in theory to do stupid dinosaur stuff. But once again, dinosaur deck is very much like Fiendsmith, not as consistent, but it's a lot like Fiendsmith in that if you resolve a full dinosaur combo, you can do whatever you want in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh!
That's like the
Like,
Dirac
you
support.
resolve dinosaur combo, you can just do whatever you want.
I think,
Besides the Dirac stuff that's coming out, which that's kind of just
I think that
that's the exception.
I think that is gonna revolutionize the way that Dino end boards. I think those cards are way better than current Dino end boards. Why on earth do I need to make Dolka and Lagia or just Dolka and like a generic thing when I can have like 4 freaking board wipes?
What if I told you
Here
that
comes
during
the
my
second
main
meteor.
phase, but what if I told
Well,
you
what about
during
the
my
third?
main phase that my Dolka and Lagia are protected because we're playing Tenpai Dinosaur?
You just play Sprite Dinosaur, it'd probably be better.
I know, but it was just, it's funny because Doka and Legia are fire dragons.
Yeah. That would actually be hilarious though. But I'm pretty sure it says your
I
opponent's
can't
main
confirm
phase.
nor because it does, but I cannot confirm nor deny who I was chatting with about some weird idea like that. But it exists out there.
I think that's pretty funny. I think that like overall though that's pretty cool. Magic got a new ban list, and man, are people not happy? They are so
I am
mad, and it's
laughing.
so funny to me. Oh,
Just tell them to come play Yu-Gi-Oh.
so
To the one guy I offloaded my
You
Jewel
want
Lotus
everything to stay the same and never change? Come play Yu-Gi-Oh.
to the one
We're
guy
more consistent than freaking EDH right now.
to the one guy who I offloaded my Jewel Lotus to, like not even a week ago. I'm so sorry.
to me,
I
to
had
me,
it in like a CEDH Light Pause deck, and I just offloaded the Jewel Lotus because I was like, I don't have time to play Magic right now.
the best part about it, it's like that meme, right, where you're like, "Come on, we want you to shake up the format." No, not like that.
Yeah.
It's because, and I literally saw people doing that on not, they didn't post that meme, but they literally were like, hey, when we said we wanted you to shake up the format and actually do bands that actually do something, we didn't mean
I
this.
didn't mean that. Yeah.
And everything.
I think they should hit Soul Ring next.
They said they won't. So Magic actually has
I don't believe
explanations.
it.
Magic actually has explanations, and in their explanation, the rules committee straight up said we're never hitting Soul Ring because while it has the same issues that we talked about for the other cards, it's kind of grandfathered in at this point, and it's like a staple of the format. And if we hit it, it would fundamentally change the format and what you think of the format and the poster child, pretty much of it. So they're not going to hit it. But they hit Mana
Yeah.
Crypt, Jeweled Lotus, Dockside Extortionist, and Nadu. Nadu's getting banned and everything because it's like one of the most busted cards ever printed.
Yeah, like that was expected. But I think my favorite part about that rules committee is they're just like a committee of normal ass people. So in my opinion, they have way too much influence on a very powerful secondary market.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could make that argument. I know that there's a lot of conspiracies about them. Um, so like I've seen people have the conspiracy that they manipulate the secondary market by buying out cards and then unbanning cards, or or selling all their cards and then banning cards. There's no
If I had that kind of power over a format that was that powerful, it's what I would do.
yeah, but
It'd be easy money.
there's no proof of this. This is all alleged, and this is just like a conspiracy of what people have said. And everything.
Ban me, wizards. I don't care.
Oh, Wizards, don't ban me, please.
But that's
We'll play One Piece.
that's what I've heard people like allege to. Personally, I could see it either way. There was a weird spike, like a month before Worldfire got unbanned, and then it got unbanned, and all of a sudden that card went from like a bulk mythic to like $50 overnight, and before it got banned, it went from like a bulk mythic to like $20. So like there was a buyout or something. So I don't know. That's because I looked at the graph on TCG Player and that's what it said. So I don't know if someone did that on the rules committee or what. I'm just saying that was just a weird thing I noticed. Don't shoot the messenger.
That's just a theory.
So on today's Market Watch, we're going to actually go look at Magic the Gathering cards.
Oh, that would be so funny if we made since we have made it very clear we dislike Market Watch videos, and then we just go and do it for Magic though because we don't care about that game. That'd be so
We
funny.
know nothing. It's like I don't care about that game, so I could Market Watch that all day. And my favorite part about like doing a Market Watch on Magic stuff is that I wouldn't have any dog in that fight. So everything I would see would be purely me going, "You got this card. Don't know what it does, but it's going to trend up in price, guys."
You would
He's
be,
just,
you know how like Ruxin opens like product and stuff, and he like or does banlist reactions. That would
Yeah.
just be Steph for Magic.
Oh,
yeah.
I love his ban list reactions. They're
I
so
do too.
they're so funny.
He thought Eva was legal this whole time.
Mm.
He's like, oh, Eva got banned or limited. Whoa, that's insane.
I love like what was it? The very first one he did, where he's like, I guess this was a problem. Now it's not, and everything because he doesn't play. He just opens product, so it's really funny.
Yeah.
But I watched his last
Yeah,
one. It wasn't as funny because I think he knows a little bit more now, so it's not like as funny. But it was still pretty good.
I love Ruxin.
Like I would look up Magic cards and I'd be like, the artwork is pretty cool on this. This card's gonna uptrend in price, and eventually I'll be right, and people will be like, "He's our messiah."
I'm not
I
the
was
Messiah.
literally going to
He's
say
the Messiah.
He's a Messiah.
I love that meme. Guys, I'm not the Messiah. He did this. He's the Messiah.
No.
I used to play Magic. I played it for 10 years. And I loved it until I didn't. And there was like, it's weird, right? Because like they started doing things similar to Yu-Gi-Oh, but like just in a different way that made it like a lot more awful than Yu-Gi-Oh in my opinion. So like the power creep was real bad in standard, right? And like I know I play Yu-Gi-Oh, so power creep's crazy, but I played Magic for a different reason than I play Yu-Gi-Oh. They're two different games, and I played them for different reasons. So when the power creep hit Yu-Gi-Oh level, and everything just keeps getting power crept, and standard's not doing its job, or they're making standard last longer, and standard's not as fun, it kind of like killed it for me. On top of like the fact that there's a new product literally every month in Magic, to the point that like
Yeah.
if you're trying, and not all of it's legal in standard, but all of it's legal in Commander. And
Yeah, so if you're a Commander player, you're just fucked.
And as someone who kept up with it and played a lot of Commander and stuff, it was very exhaustive. Even if I didn't buy this product, I got like product fatigue. And then there's also the crossovers, and 90% of them I didn't care for and stuff like that. So that was the main reason I left Magic. I think that overall, even looking back at the last like 2 years I played Magic, I remember distinctly saying, I think Yu-Gi-Oh is more fun to play. I just don't get to play it as often. And I stand by that. Yu-Gi-Oh, in my opinion...
You got so petty. You got so petty in Commander. I vaguely remember you always going, yeah, I'm building this deck now. I'm like, that doesn't sound fun. Yeah, this person that I go to this locals at says that they don't like that type of deck, and I just want to make it to just annoy them. And I'm just sitting here going, I'm just like, you're just angrily making decks. Is this what I'm like when I play?
So that person was like, that person was an exception because he was like very annoying and very like in your face about his opinions.
You built a life gain deck.
I did, and I hate.
Built a life gain deck.
I did.
I was like, in my brain, I actually was going to put you on some kind of watch or something because I was like, he doesn't really like life gain decks. That's not his thing. He doesn't even like white cards, really.
Nope.
Like, it is your most hated thing, and I'm just sitting here going, has he finally snapped?
I will say
And
that
then
deck
you're like,
is.
oh no, this one guy said he didn't like this thing, and he was in my face about it. So I decided I was going to make it, and I was like,
listen, I am a spiteful person. At like the end of the day, some of the things I've done for spite, out of spite, is funny. I one time.
Will say
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I one time played a card in a deck that I specifically told Stefan is bad just to spite him and killed him with it several times actually.
Love that card.
My favorite part is like, hey, I like this card, Michael. It's like, why aren't we playing this? Like, it's an awful card. Okay, you're right. And you explained it to me. I'm like, okay. And then one day you're like, hey, play against me. And you went, I 5 this guy. And I went, you told me it was a terrible card.
It is. I'm
It
playing a
is.
bad deck. Is what I said.
Was that when I got us to sweet revenge to you so many times that you were just kind of bitter?
A little bit. Go ahead, Josh, though. What were you wanting to say?
Oh fuck, what was it? Oh, I was just gonna say when I had my Lipos deck. I don't really like life gain, but I made that thing gain like +50 and double strike and lifelink.
The difference is you're just kind of incidentally gaining life.
Yeah.
I'm gaining life every upkeep, every turn, for no reason, because I had Aloro Ageless Ascent, whose ability says, from the command zone, at the beginning of your upkeep, you gain 2 life. And the best part about that deck, after playing it, that I've realized that what I do like about life gain, is I like life gain when it's free, and I don't have to pay for it, and everything like that. When it's free, it's great, because if someone leaves you alone for like...
I'm gonna play life gain, and my opponents are going to pay for it.
I mean, it is a tax deck too.
So
But
in my findings of my Mimighoul stuff,
yeah,
I have found 2 Archfiend, 1 Dragon, 3 Maker, 2 Room.
yeah. One of these stacks I have.
And I have 3 Dungeon. So
I have Mimighoul, Archfiend, and Dragon somewhere.
I just need 2 Dragon, 3 Master. And I have all the stuff I need currently. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to do something.
So, here's a hot take for you guys from my point of view. I don't think the Rage of the Abyss Max 3 is actually that good. I don't think it's as good. Well, it's definitely not as good as Max C. But I don't think it's as good as people were saying it's gonna be. I still think it's a good card. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think it's like actually Max 3 that you're gonna play it and the other Molcharmy in the same deck in every deck over here.
Not every deck, no.
I don't think that you do that. I don't think that I think that card is a side deck card, because I'm pretty sure it has the same clause of you can't control any cards. And it's gonna be a brick.
I'm gonna main deck it because I lose every die roll anyway.
Oh, I feel that. I feel that.
I lose every die roll, so I'll main deck.
I called the Snake Eyes at regionals.
Yeah.
Rolled the dice, and he went 3. I picked up the dice. I'm like, I'm just going to roll Snake Eyes right here. Hit the Snake Eyes, and someone else is like, he must go to casinos a lot or something. I'm just sitting there like, nah, I just know how my luck is going.
That's like one time when Dustin and I were gonna play, playing a game. He rolled a 3 on a 100-sided die, and I rolled a 3 on a 100-sided die. That's what it was. I rolled a 3 on a 100-sided die and went, well, you're probably going first. And he's like, I don't know, man. Hit it, and he got a 2.
I don't know, man. This app is sketchy.
So,
waited.
But it's funny that like I've realized that like in Magic, there's people that would lose to me constantly, not because I was just like their bad luck charm. Like Dustin was one of them. There was like a few people at the Magic locals that I was like that too. And so it's really funny that it's just like, bam. But Yu-Gi-Oh! Going back to Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yu-Gi-Oh! That's the game we play.
Tenpai, if you lose every dice roll, Tenpai is a good Tenpai is a very good deck to play if you lose every dice roll.
No, because knowing my luck, I'll run the Tenpai mirrors all day.
Dude, those Tenpai mirrors are actually like...
Then you just have to be better at the game than them.
I won almost every Tenpai. In fact, when I played Tenpai at a regional, I did win every Tenpai mirror.
See? That's my coach over there. He's going to tell me how to beat people with Tenpai.
You know how you beat people with Tenpai while playing Tenpai? You play Torrential Tribute in the side deck. They don't see it fucking coming.
True. I have built Labyrinth, and I have it main deck. So.
Torrential?
Oh, yeah. Labyrinth. I was having fun playing against that.
I think
fun. I'm gonna do the furniture build. By the way, I've decided I have all the furniture pieces in super rare. So I was like,
I just kept thinking about swinging from a chandelier.
I think the furniture build was always the correct choice. I know that people weren't doing it for a while, but I think it's always been the correct choice.
yeah, that's what I'm feeling.
But um, but yeah, I think Torrential is like a surprisingly very good card that doesn't see a ton of play, that doesn't see as much play as it should, and because almost every time I've cited it in or had it or whatever at any event, Torrential has actually like been like really good. Like maybe it's a skill,
Unexpected kill switch.
maybe it's a skill issue, but like
I love this card.
maybe it's a skill issue and people don't know when to flip it. But there are so many times where it's just like nope. Especially if you open multiple, that's really funny.
I've had so much practice with this card.
I think you torrentialed me like, no, it was someone else that they torrentialed me. I feel like in one turn I got torrentialed 3 times. It wasn't you, Michael. It was someone else that like it. Flip me. Yeah, we'll stop that exorcist. Flip other torrential me. We can interact with this. Flip third torrential. I'm just sitting there like.
I flipped 3 on you once.
Yeah, I did that at a regional, and the person was like, 3 torrentials? Are you serious? I was like, yeah, dude.
Now I know how my branded opponent feels when I just 3-card hand trap them and then go off.
Oh man. So, for ROTA and like looping cards out of hand and stuff like that, because we were talking about that earlier before we started recording, because one of our friends wants to use Sky Scourge Norealis. Won't say which one. Don't worry, I got your back, buddy. Even though no one from our locals watches this.
I'll say his name. I'll say first and last name right now.
Don't you dox him.
Actually, Actually, you can go find his YouTube channel, Yu-Gi-Oh! Commander.
It's okay.
Yeah. Shoutouts to Jesse, Yu-Gi-Oh! Commander.
But so he wants to do that. You know what you can do in Mermails is you can hand loop someone if you open up. Right?
Yeah.
I did to Stefan. It took several freaking things, and he could have stopped me at any time.
And there was like the one point. It's every time we get a good replay like that. By the way, you go, I have the combo, please. I'm like, I won't stop it. And like it happened when you did the world thing on me one time a long time ago, or one of those combos used. Like he could have stopped it at any point, but he let me do it, and I was like, yeah, I had to. Like we've been playing this game enough. You get to do it once, and then once you've done it once, I'll stop it.
Someone in the domain Discord said a whole line of play of what you could do with just Deep Sea Diva and do it as a 1-card thing. But I didn't ever do that line because that requires you to have your deck geared just for that. So like you burn through a lot of your extra deck for it as well. Whereas mine is like if you have Umi and you have the one that summon, you have to have Umi, Ocean Dragon Lord, Neo de Dallas, which you can get. You can search that card. And then, or actually, technically, all it takes is Umi and the Atlantean Prince. You have both those cards in your hand, you can hand loop them. But it requires, like, nothing stopping you. So it can be pretty hard. A Droll, an Imperm, a well-timed Ash Blossom will do it as well. So
I started figuring out how to stop it, I think, as we progress. So
I remember one time you stopped it, and I just I pivoted and did the normal combo. But if you could gear it or build that deck in a way that where if you got it, you got it, cool. But if you don't, you just pivot and do the full normal combo. I think it could be fine, but I think overall it I don't know, it has its issues. I personally, as much as I like Mermails as a deck, I don't think the new support's enough. I really don't.
Yeah.
You know what new support is enough? Mimighoul.
We're not going back to Mimighoul.
Can we go back?
Can
we talk about slime? Can we talk about slime one more time?
And just slime specifically.
Yeah.
Slime best
what it-
girl. Let's go.
Can we talk about Slime's face? Slime just looks grumpy.
Dude, Mimighoul Slime is best girl in the Mimighoul archetype. I don't care.
That's true.
Oh, but Michael, how do you know it's a girl? Because sometimes it takes a real man to become best girl.
To be best
Be
girl.
best girl.
And sometimes it takes a homogenous blob that has no specified gender or sex. It's AKA Mimighoul Slime.
Slime.
That's right. Is best.
He's my new mascot.
But what about you, Bell? Best they them?
No, not after this format.
Listen, okay? we all lost to the same deck.
I said the line at the last regional we were at, and someone looked at us like and tilted their head and went, "What the?" And then one of our other guys walked up and shook his head, like, "He's right though. We all lost to it once."
Yep.
I played that deck in
brothers.
one. Now we all lost to the same deck. Good old Ubel. And I just want Phantom of Ubel Limited. And then I think that deck is good and probably still one of the best decks. It just isn't as BS. And that is...
I'm kind of upset that I got off that deck.
I mean, I could have told you were going to do that before you did. You have a bad habit of either getting interested in a deck, it all of a sudden becomes meta, or it's going to become meta really soon, and you go, I don't like it, I'm bored, I want to play this deck instead, and then you get rid of all the cards, and then it becomes meta. Happens every time.
Like,
that's happened every time.
3 months when Salomon Great first came out and it was trash. All I heard from you was, "It's gonna be meta."
I told you
it's gonna be meta.
I told you.
And I'm saying, like, dude, it's not going to do it. Quit. And then finally the things came out, and I was like, okay, but it took like 3 months.
No, it didn't. It took like 2 weeks because Sunlight Wolf came out as a rare.
I remember before the Salomon Great
rare.
Before the Salomon Gate structure deck, when I tried the support in the OCG, and I played against Stefan, I went, this deck doesn't do anything! And then they gave him out with the structure deck.
Trumpeting all of that. Like, it's going to be the meta. I'm like, it's not going to. We have nothing right now that makes it. And then the thing came out that made it, and you just didn't play it.
I didn't. Because I didn't want to pay $10 for a rare. To be fair. To be fair, I don't think we had that many regionals or anything at the time. We
didn't have many regionals. Most of us were broke.
Yeah, we just had low. I mean, I honestly,
I was still playing Paleozoic Frog.
I could have honestly just gotten the 2 Sunlight Wolves.
I was still on a version of Troop Dupe Scoop, I'm sure. I'm like 90% sure I was on that, and it got hit, and I took out and yeah.
I was playing True Draco then.
That deck was so expensive, and the only reason I was able to play it is because I opened a good chunk of the cards or had them already, and people just gave them to me. So like, the only one that I was borrowing was Borreload and Saryuja, but then the person quit and never asked for them back. So
I remember everyone giving me all the Time Lords when they came out because no one wanted them.
Oh man, I had
I wrecked house.
I had such a monopoly of. I had like a stack of this of Gamma Seals, and man,
I remember
because what happened is I got my playset really early and when no one wanted them, and then I kept one pulling them from my prize packs, and then 2 just trading for them. I would trade like Upstart Goblins because I had a stack of Upstart Goblins too, by the way, and they were like $5.
I still have a stack of freaking Upstart Goblins.
So, for me, I remember specifically how I got like a huge stack of them. Is at our locals at the time, there were these demo packs, and each one of the demo packs had Dark Blade, Upstart Goblin, and a bunch of other cards, like 18 card or 20 card packs or something that were demo packs, and he would sell them for like $1 a piece or something like that, if that. And so I had like literally a stack of upstarts like that because I did what Patrick Hoban did, and I would literally just throw 3 into every deck, and they were good trade fodder because people wanted them most of the time. It was like, oh, I need upstarts. I have 3, and they're $5 a piece. What do you want? Well, here's my binder. I'll take these Gamma Seals. I just like, and part of it was I like kaijus. I just like kaijus, not like necessarily the Yu-Gi-Oh monster. I do like them, but I'm a big Godzilla fan. I always have been. So I was just wanting them for that sake. And I played Grado Kaijus, and that one was fun. That was really funny.
That looks fun.
That was really funny too because first locals I put it together. Stefan and I get paired round 1 against each other. He's playing pure Gradles and I'm playing Gradle Kaiju.
Yeah, as I remember, I was like, I built a new deck, and like Michael gets a look on his face, and you go, "So did I," and I'm sitting there going, "Oh no."
We're both broke. How can
I went? Oh, when I went in my brain, I went, "We're both broke," so that means that he had to have built a real cheap deck too.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then it turns out we both built Gradles. I'm just sitting there like, is this when budget players have to face each other? And
then it's funny.
Now look at us.
And what was really funny about it is you put in skill drain. I didn't because I had skill drain. I just didn't think about it. And then you flip it on me, and I went, "Oh, okay." Yeah. And then I kaiju'd you. I was like, "Yeah, but like I have really big monsters now." So, but and then it was funny because you were like, "I never thought about mixing them with kaijus." And I was like, yeah, but it makes sense though, right? And you're like, it does. You get rid of something that you can't
felt
steal.
like when we were facing each other in tech cards and stuff, it was just like in our brains we were just like both going, "Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool."
I think
I
think the only card I actually got from you and everything, the only cards is I actually put in the Gradle Dragons, as I wasn't playing them before.
I showed you could loop them.
Yeah, and then I put in the skill drain, and I was like,
Yeah,
hey, the rest I did
like,
it.
You're like, what is your? Because I think you asked me, what's your deck do? I'm like, loop Gradle Dragon. That's the whole point of what? I'm like, you just loop Gradle Dragon.
I remember you went back to playing zombies, and I was still on Gradle Kaiju, and I got Gamma Seal out with like a ton of counters on it. I think I had like 8, and you were like, I can't, and everything. Because you're like trying to play through it, and I'm like negate, and then you're like chain, and I'm like negate because it's not once per chain, and I kept doing that, and then it's banishing the cards too, so your zombies it's harder for your zombie stuff to get back, and I start flipping my back row on you, and they're going to the grave and refueling the counters, and you're like, fertile control, huh? And I was like, yep.
It's weird because like it just. It's awful. I know one time when I was playing Frogs, I gave you a freaking Gamma Seal. Because you had a real threat on the board I couldn't deal with. And I'm like, I have a Gamma Seal. And you looked at me and you went, yeah, I'll take that. And I just sat there and I just started going, oh no. And it's like, I doomed us.
That was pretty good. I also remember you tried to attack. You managed to get out of Beals while I had a Gamma Seal with a bunch of counters, and then you tried to attack over it, and then I used Capture Mission to flip my Gamma Seal face down and tie it for 3,000 defense. And you're like, this got so much worse.
It got worse. Yeah, no, Gyarados Kaiju, that was a great deck. There was a lot of really stupid stuff we were playing back then.
I miss those days.
I
miss them.
So I find it funny because there's times back then where I would just mess with like a lot of the lower skilled people, including Josh at locals because he wasn't as good as he is now. So one time Josh was playing like a Gaga Utopia deck, and I went grabbed 40 cards out of
don't
a 10 that I had, and just went and looked at the card just to make sure there was no banned cards. I went, all right, and that's all I did. And I beat him. I registered with it for the local tournament. I beat
You
him.
did.
I beat him round 1, and then I beat Trevor round 2.
That was funny.
And Trevor was playing Blue Eyes, and he had Chaos Max, and I outed his Chaos Max. And then
do you remember what you used to out the Chaos Max? Like,
I-
what did I have in that tin that could do it?
I normal summoned DD Warrior Lady and attacked. That's all it was. And then I had back row.
It's great because you've grabbed piles, because I used to have a lot of boxes of cards I'd have with me, and Michael was like, "Hey, Steph, play me," and I went, "Sure," and you just grab a bunch of cards. And yeah, I remember my cards are not fully sorted, but a lot of really similar power cards are next to each other, so it's not like it's low quality cards in a lot of those boxes. Here's a, you beat me with it, and I'm just sitting here going, and you're just like, "Yeah, I beat you," and then you bought the dinosaur deck and just I beat you in Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. That was when I realized that is one hell of a card.
I also remember you got out like 2 Paleos, and we're getting ready to overlay them. And I said, all right, on the second summon, I'm going to flip up the dinosaur trap card. And you're like, I'm going to chain another Paleo, just not thinking about it. And I was like, oh no.
Oh no.
And then I was like, okay, what does it do? And I went, it destroys all normal monsters on the field, and then I get to summon dinos from my deck for each one you destroyed. And you went, you read the Paleozoics, and you went, like and everything. And
the typical Stefan, like, oh no.
I also, if you remember, before that, I didn't have any of my cards on me. I just stopped in the DCP Hobbies, which was our locals at that time, and picked up the Synchron Structure deck, and that's all I had on me, as I had 1 copy of it. And I was like, you were like, hey, any of you want to play? I was like, I got the Synchron Structure I could play you with real fast before we take off. And you're like, yeah, sure. And then I beat you with that stock. I beat your zombie deck with it stock. And it was funny because you're like, I'm going to MST your back row. And it was the one that summons out Speed Warrior from the deck. And then it let me like synchro summon and start like going into my plays. Oh man, it was really funny.
Like, we've done a lot of crazy stuff like that. You and I, like, you were the first one to pull off the extra link at our locals.
Mm-hmm.
I remember summoning Quasar and going through like the whole like double Quasar combo, doing like nuclear fusion on my mat, and then all the Magic players come over. Like, what the fuck is happening?
I blew Jordan's mind, I think, because when I had the Synchron deck, I made triple Quasar without Soul Charge. And
yeah.
he's like,
Soul Charge's training wheels.
He's like, I didn't know that you could actually do that because I thought you would run out of space. I was like, you get close. You get real close.
It gets a little tight.
You have just enough. Especially because there was no extra monster zone back then.
Yeah.
But you had,
back in the Stone Ages.
but I also like there's been like several things. Like I stopped playing Teller Knights, which was like a meta contender, and I started playing Spirit Trap Tricks of all things, and I started doing
that deck is amazing, by the way.
I started like wiping the floor with our locals, and our locals.
There are old formats that you can dominate with that deck because we now know it exists and how good it actually is.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I'm just ready to play like max rarity Burning Abyss for Duelist Alliance format.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish Duelist Alliance would fire
that
more.
Time Wizard for. Listen, give it another like 3 years, 2 years. That Time Wizard format's gonna pop off.
At the YCS we had Dragon Rulers, like full power drag, like with babies. That was one of the things that.
God, I was so sad that I didn't have a Dragon Ruler deck built because I would have played it.
I was so sad that I didn't have
a heartbeat drop to play it.
Yeah,
I would have totally played full power spellbooks, but
at the regional we went to, they were firing off a hat format that tournament.
Oh, really?
They also said that if we wanted to fire off a event, just get 8 other friends, and they'd fire off whatever Time Wizard format we wanted them to. I'm just sitting there like, darn it. I need just more friends with trooper decks.
I need to make a trooper deck.
I might order one.
Send me some lists of decks from that format.
That's the great part about that format, is all the decks are just beautiful.
They're like very homogenized. So like, there's Trooper, there's Troop Dupe Scoop, there's Trooper Burn, there is
Beast battling Beast.
Yeah, Beast.
What year is this format?
2007.
2007.
We didn't have Glad Beast yet, did we?
Nope.
No.
It was before Glad Beast. It was before Allure of Darkness. It was like it was like a few formats after Goat and Cyber. We got this one, and it's crazy because
it is an actual anime format. If like those people that love their dual discs and stuff were to truly play Trooper format, they would love it. Like it is a very swingy format. It is very much you are playing in the anime. Because you top draw and you look at the card and you go, "This gets me out of this situation," and it is beautiful. And I've never.
It is.
I was more than willing to fire tournaments and give people prizes and stuff to play it online with us.
It is also very. It's also one of the formats where life points matter.
Yeah, life points are a resource that you have to manage on top of playing.
So
does Trooper format have their website?
You can go format library, and it's just called Trooper.
Yeah.
And it's I like it. You have the Machine OTK in it. You have the Troop Dupe Scoop. You have Diamond Dude Turbo. Still,
you can play Diamond Dude Turbo.
You have like I said,
counter fairies in this format.
You have Bazoo Burn. Yeah. You have counter fairies. You have there's a lot of things you can play in it.
Banish Bazoo, where you're just banishing your graveyard and then you're just bringing them all back with
I need a reason to bust out the Bountiful Artemises.
There's like a hero deck in there too, and everything as well. There's like so like it's very cool. Like when we first looked into the format, we didn't use format library, we used a different site, and we saw there's a long list of decks that they consider tier 1 and 2, and then there's like Rogue and everything and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Trooper Burn was really funny.
I did the true research into it, and I was like, yeah, let's do this. And then like from the idea of us playing Trooper, I think is actually how we came up with the Iron Series thing too. Was inevitably I was thinking about playing through old formats and stuff.
Six Samurai? Alright, I bet.
Yeah.
That's OG Six Samurai though.
I know.
That is Six Samurai Control.
I'm looking at it and I love it.
I think you get Solemn Judgment too, so I mean...
Yeah. Oh wait, yeah, no, I'm playing counter fairies. Fuck.
But
yeah, a lot of these older formats, Judgment's at 3.
It doesn't start being played until like consistently until like 2008 or something. Like if you like historically, like people go back and do it now, but historically I vividly remember it's like around 2008 is when people were like, "Oh, this literally stops anything."
Yeah.
So, great format. There's a lot of good formats I think are underrated. I think that Trooper, Duelist Alliance. I know that's a highly rated format, but it like never seems like I never see people talk about it as much. I think Hat.
I want to start like talking about Duelist Alliance on my own YouTube channel. I just want to say.
Yeah, I think Hat can be cool. I think Fire Water is really fun.
That's a fun one too.
That's a fun format.
I love watching Firewater.
I think Meadowlands is kind of fun. It's like right before Dragon Rulers, so I think that one can be fun. And It's kind of like the same as Fire Water, though. It's just that with Fire Water, you get a little bit more options. But like, yeah, overall, I think that there's a lot of like formats that kind of go under rug. A format I actually ended up appreciating more because of our Iron series, the second time around, was actually Yugi Kaiba. Because the first time around, it was like, it's such a slog. And then the second time around, I was like, oh wait, hold on, this is actually kind of fun because like, you can kind of like throw things at you just throw things at your opponent and stuff like
Who
that.
are you and what have you done to Michael?
It's like the only retro
No,
format.
him and I played a lot of it actually. I think we played a lot of it because there was this idea I had. I was like, people have to like this format for a reason because this is just awful magic. But then you play it and format library says itself. It is a game of chess.
Mm.
But it's really not. It is actually a game of nuclear chess. Your pieces blow up when you take things.
It's
And they
chess.
take things with them.
It's FPS chess.
Yeah. So out of all the old DM formats, ironically, that is the one I think is actually the funnest because it's so powerful for what little cards actually exist. And then you get the rest of them, and it's either totally unbalanced powerful, where they're ripping cards out of your hand, or you're looping things, or it's a slog because everything's like tomato control. And then Goat, once you get into DM era, you get stuff like Goat, and Goat's not very fun because Goat is like a rock paper scissors format at best, and at worst it's kind of solved because everybody has sat there and played it to death. uh Edison, I don't enjoy that much because it's like the worst versions of the decks, even out of the decks I like that are in Edison. It's like the worst version of that deck that you could possibly play is the ones. So it's very, as someone who likes to optimize things, it's very annoying from like an optimized point. But with Yugi Kaiba format, it is played enough that people are optimizing it, but it's not fully solved. And so like it is crazy how diverse and how, because of how little cards there are, how strong that format is. And if I were to compare Yugi Kaiba to Edison, I think Yugi Kaiba, for what the card pool was at the time, it is way stronger than Edison is. But Edison, obviously, if you put an Edison deck against a Yugi Kaiba deck, the Edison deck's probably going to win because they just have more cards and stuff like that. But I think that, like, for what was available at the times, Edison decks are really, really weak for what was actually available because everything's hit. And there's, like, it's, like, kind of in between a ban list, is what it felt like, where everything just got hit and it's in between sets, so nothing's very good. And then a few months later, Frog FTK comes out, and then then there's an actual meta. But like but that's just my opinion. I think that like Yugi Kaiba is pretty underrated, and I suggest you play it and try it out and everything. And you know
Here's
what?
some hints on playing it, by the way. When we first played it, we were being very strategic and not so, we were just playing around things. You're not going to have fun at that. So, experts at that format will say that, oh, you play around everything and it's going to be a long slog match. If you force the opponent to have to answer things and you're playing cards and firing them off and just trying to keep yourself ahead in economy, being aggressive in that format makes you win faster and you get better games. Then if you get two people playing the decks really fast and being aggressive, the games get really intense because every draw, like a resolving Pot of Greed, basically wins you it sometimes when you're just like,
dude,
Pot of Greed. Like, you don't even fire it off immediately. You can keep it until you go, yeah, I need to answer that. Like, it
Pot
is
agreed.
very interesting. When we first played it, we were way too back and forth and like
Yeah.
too passive with it. When we aggressively played the game, that's when you understand it's different. But that's the great part about it is there's many different levels to it.
I'm
Exactly like chess. You have the standard way, and then you have, all the different openings and stuff you can do with it.
Same thing with Trooper. I don't think we technically play Trooper the right way, Stefan, but the way we've played it is so much more fun, and you're just trying to go, fuck it, you're just hitting the gas as fast as you can and everything. That's so much more fun to play than actually what you're probably supposed to do, where you
I really want to find a Trooper enthusiast and play him with a Trooper deck and see if I can beat him.
I like going back to old formats and playing them purposely like from like a modern perspective and everything, because it makes it so much more fun most of the time. And maybe that's why I don't like Goat and Edison, is because you can't really do that, and like the game itself feels like it stops you and throttles you from doing that. But like you play something like Star Strike Blast, where it's like, granted, it's like one deck's the best deck, but like, oh man, you just fire things off as Gravekeepers instead of actually doing what you're supposed to, and it's so much more fun than just like, all right, I'm gonna set
There's
these
a
cards,
reason why,
and I'm gonna flip these.
there's a reason why
do...
in that format that even in the old series, we get stuck on Gravekeeper for a while. And I tell you something from the future, Gravekeeper's a good deck.
All right, I have a question.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yugi Kaiba format or toss?
So I don't admittedly have...
There's the right answer.
I admittedly don't have as much experience with toss as I would like to, but from what I played,
I was playing a lot of toss, I think.
Let's play some toss later.
From what I played of toss and what I remember of toss, I wasn't actually like super impressed. It's okay, but I still believe that the reason it's rated as high as it is because we just got off the back of a whole year of FTKs and Gumblar hand loops, where we rip out 2 cards on your turn, on my turn, and then on Stefan's turn, on his draw phase, I rip out 2 more cards and stuff like that, and then still have a board of negates and all that. And you know, there's the danger FTK, there's the firewall FTKs, there's all kinds of like broken stuff that happened from like the first 2 or 3 months of that year are okay, and then all of a sudden it just like goes like, oh, and also Goki extra loops or extra links and everything were also an issue. So like we went from extra linking your opponent out of the game to FTKs and hand loops, and then we got toss, which is a very mid-rangey 4-deck format that actually has
Edison.
Yeah.
Speaking of Goki, I got the whole core.
Yeah, toss is basically just Edison, except for, you know, better, because the power still exists in toss. And you still have the control elements of toss, which are pretty fun.
I like toss. I'll say it.
I mean,
but
you're not
only
alone
deck I don't like out of
sentiment.
the 4. Only deck I don't like out of the 4 is Orcust.
Okay, that's fair.
Like, and that's kind of the issue too, is that Orcust it feels aggressive and powerful.
Unless you're playing specifically Thunder Dragon, but
here's my hot take. I mean, I know it's a hot. I don't know. It's not like, I don't know. I think it's probably like a lukewarm take at this point, or a warm take now. Tier limit format was a good format if you're playing tier limits,
or if you're playing Flu.
But tier limit was a good format. Zodiac was a good format for any deck involved, and
I miss Zoo.
I think Zoo format was a blast. And I know that people are like, oh, how could you say that? There was one best deck. Yeah, but you could put that best deck into anything, and it worked.
That best deck was
You could
fun.
play Dinosaur Zoo.
You could. You could play True Draco Zoo. Play the 2 best decks in one. You could play...
I still remember beating the guy with the head of Exodia.
Also, you could play Time Lords against Zoo, and it was kind of annoying for them. I'm really convinced, though. I think of a deck that probably should have got more play earlier in its lifespan, and then it got like okay later after Alpha or Pankratops or Gizmek came out. But the Luna control deck, I honestly think that deck could have been good a lot earlier, Maybe not actually
Oh, yeah.
like it was legal during Spiral format, but I don't know. It was good against the bad Spiral players because the bad Spiral players ended on maybe a Trigate and like, or what's it called, the sleeper agent or something, the one that like pops too and everything.
Yeah.
Like, so the bad ones only ended on like one negate and one of that, whereas like the good ones, like they're really like the good ones would have like multiple negates and disruptions. So it's really good against the bad players and it's bad against the like good players. So that's not where you would want it to be. But like I think that like when we got out of that format and we started having like one or two like big kind of bosses again, it would have been, I think it would have been fine. I think that like there's certain decks that kind of like you look back on and people think, huh, why didn't we play this? And I know that in Firewater, it is widely believed that the best deck is actually Dark World. Um, just like in Primal Origins, so right before Hat, or and everything, so right before Hat, there's a lot of people that believe that Sylvans are actually the best deck in that format too when they go back and play it retroactively. So I think it just depends, right?
Speaking of Hat, the Sylvans are getting bought out at the moment.
Are they? I don't know
Yeah,
where my
Marshall
Sylvans
Leaf
are.
The ones that haven't been reprinted, I know Marshall Leaf is up. I don't remember
Why? That
who
deck
else
is
hasn't got reprinted.
that deck is so far power crept. I mean, I guess like if you're playing Hat format and they're doing more of that,
Yeah.
I guess. But like that deck is like for modern day, it's so far power crept. It's not even worth considering. Like like you could stop it with a single Ash Blossom a lot of the time. That's one of those decks that one hand trap can stop you dead in your tracks, or one hand trap's not gonna stop you, and there's nothing that's gonna stop you outside of like Dimension Shifter. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that Sylvans are a bit like really high rolly, and that's kind of like the fun of the deck. And that's probably why I liked Troop Dupe Scoop and Tear Lament and stuff like that. But I don't really like Lightsworn. But I think that's because Lightsworn doesn't like spin the wheels hard enough. You know what I mean? They don't, and like they do now. But there was a time when they didn't like mill their whole deck. They would mill like four.
Doesn't spin the wheels hard enough.
That's
I don't know. Yeah, nah. We don't let we petition to not let Michael play Lightsworns anymore.
so
Fair.
there was this I remember when Lightsworn got announced new support, right? And Joshua Schmidt was going over it, and there was that one replay of how every Lightsworn combo is gonna look, and it was one with one card starter, and it was activate charge mill 3 wolves. That's me. That's me playing Lightsworn. It is like
I have legit seen him do it before, so you know.
I did it back when I was playing Chaos Lightsworn. That deck was fun.
my favorite part was that when I played against Stefan playing Lightsworn is what I was like, I don't like this deck, so I'm gonna play it my way, and I just deck myself out like half the time. I'm
gonna punch myself in the face.
I'm
Okay.
gonna deck myself out or OTK you trying. Is what I told him.
Is that like seeing down across from me? I'm gonna FTK you, Stefan.
That was pretty funny too. We got that video on that.
Yeah.
All right. I think we've talked long enough. We've been going
Wait,
for.
I have a funny Lightsworn story.
I go for it.
Okay.
So I was playing the Chaos Lightsworn deck, and I did Charge the Light Brigade, and my opponent attempted to Ash me, and I was like, let me mill for cost first. And my opponent was like, okay. Literally milled 3 wolf.
Hell yeah, brother.
And he was just like, I'm still gonna Ash. And I was like, all right, summon 3 wolves, make Minerva. And he's like,
I one time did that to Stefan. Is I milled like two or three wolves, and then I made Minerva, and then I detached, milled 3, and drew 3 cards. And he was like, "Oh, come on!"
Oh, come on, that's not even fair. My favorite. Okay, so favorite. We went to regionals on Sunday. Didn't play too much. I
Yeah.
scrubbed out. Typical me things. My favorite interaction from that is Josh is making a trade with our friend Trevor, I don't remember what you were trying to get. I think you were trying to get the torrential tributes from him, and you
Yeah.
pointed at the French toad that you have, and he didn't even
Yeah.
notice it was French.
He
Just
doesn't even
hilarious.
notice. I tell him
He
it's
noticed.
French.
He
I
noticed
told
now.
him.
He asked, "Why is this thing in a foreign language?" I'm like, "It's a French toad." So, which that just sounds amazing now that I say it too. French toad. That's great.
Like French
Um,
toast.
Yeah.
Out here giving him frog
So
legs.
like, yeah. My favorite part though is you're trying to make the trade happen, and it's in Trevor's favor. Like, I think Toad's worth more than those, right?
Like Toad and whatever. I know Toad, whatever else I gave him.
Yeah, Toad, whatever else, and he was like, I don't know, and I'm like, dude, and I like point at the Toad, and I go, this can stop that. Therefore, this is the better card to trade for.
Yeah.
And like every Yu-Gi-Oh player around us just turns and looks at me like I'm using playground logic, and I'm just sitting here going, oh, that's really messed up because what I just said seems like I'm trying to broker a better deal for John.
Yeah, you dick.
All right, that's funny. We've been going for almost an hour and a half, so I think it's a pretty good time to wrap it up. Thanks everyone who stood this long and let us ramble or listen to us ramble. If it's your birthday today, happy birthday, and of course, and as always, have a wonderful day.